In our news bulletin for this evening, Niue Honey plans to establish a global bee sanctuary in Niue. The Canoe Building project to educate youth and parents was launched at Kalauan last Friday. Yesterday, eager cyclists competed in the Rally of the Rock that had a confusing start but ended on a high note. Mutalo host their annual Marine Day on Queen's Birthday public holiday, with few people venturing out to sea and some reasonable catches. Niue could become a global bee sanctuary if Niue Honey's long-term plans become a reality. An international report released recently has indicated that bees could be exported around the world to rejuvenate the world's declining bee population by supporting Niue's healthy, pure and varroa-free colonies. Bees play an important part within the ecosystem, especially agriculture, as they are essential for the pollination of plants. The Niue Honey Company is campaigning against the world's bee decline by looking to convert their existing bee refuge into a formal sanctuary with enhanced biosecurity measures.
I always knew these bees were special and always thought that at one time they would become vital somewhere in the world. And they've been beautiful to handle, and they've been very forgiving bees up here. A lot of the bees in the Pacific, like Fiji, was colonialised by the British, and they've got the British bee, which is a horrible little thing. And then Samoa was by the Germans, and they've got a German bee, which is absolutely ferocious. And whereas the bees that are on Niue came from New Zealand back in '67, I think, and they're of Italian stock, which are very gentle to handle, even though they don't look like it today at the honey house here. And for the 16 years I've been up here, I don't think we've had a tourist stung on a bush track or any complaints about them. They're very quiet, gentle bees. Biosecurity is the biggest risk here. If people bringing in honey, then they're leaving the top off on the table and our bees getting into it like they are here today and spreading disease, because we don't have disease here and we don't have varroa mites or anything like that. So that's the first thing that, you know, we've got to all get behind. If people are asking about bringing honey, it's no. You know, we've had to do the same. We're not allowed to bring up second-hand drums here. As you can see, there's a load of new drums. So it's just keep the island tight's the first part, and then it start to get into worldwide recognition of what we're doing. You know, it's Nauru's known for the phosphate, and I don't think it's a bad thing for Niue to be known the bee sanctuary of the world. So that's what we're initially starting off with the crowdsourcing here, to get some funding in specifically for that project, not for the day-to-day running of the honey company, if you can imagine, to bring expert advice in here that we haven't got access to or can't afford at the moment.
The Niue honeybee is considered a national asset, and as such the industry needs to be protected. Following Cyclone Heta, attempts were made to import honeybees, but that did not fare well. But the Italian honeybees that were first imported to the island in the 1960s have proven to be a sturdy stock. It is expected that once the bee sanctuary is established, there will be potential to export clean, healthy and gentle bee stocks to other countries.
But the long-term prospect for the Niue Honey Company is to get the bees certified for export, get them right up, which is a very involved process that is beyond us. People have to be brought in, and then ready to hopefully repopulate another island in the Pacific, because if we have another cyclone and we lose all our bees, these are the last ones left. And this year coming out of the summer in America, they lost 42% of their bees, which is a huge loss, and it's just every year it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. So we're quite happy that we've managed to get these through the cyclone and get to where we are now. Bee exports are big. New Zealand exports a lot of bees to America in the autumn, and I've actually supplied bees back in when I was back in New Zealand, supplied them to America. So the technology's there. I don't think they're going to be free. The bees are not going to be free, and I can't see, you know, with this joint venture we're doing with the Niue social venture with the government will be a shareholder in that, so there will be royalties off those bees that will be coming back to Niue on them like that. But they're not going out for nothing.
Andrew says that they are thankful to the Niue Development Bank for support 6 years after Cyclone Heta and perseverance that has brought them this far.
Since we sort of have got the rights to do the bees on the islands here, you couldn't write it down on paper, but I see them as a Niuean asset, and they always will be a Niuean asset, and we've just been lucky enough to look after them, keep them going for the Niue for the rest. Hopefully it's been going for 60 years, it'll be going for another 60 years. So even before this we started with the government, I always saw this as a joint venture with the Niuean people, and now that we're starting to sell the honey, not the top price, but it's a go price, we've been able to sort out all the landowners and pay them when they come up to the honey house for the rent. And as we expand, we want to get up to about 4,000 hives here and start to really cranking it up. We'll be looking for more land, especially up the top end of the island there. So everybody that's got land that wants to be involved can be involved. It's been a wonderful project, and you know, every time I'm down in New Zealand, I can't imagine my life now without Niue in it. It's been a fantastic adventure and a fantastic experience, and I certainly don't regret the 16 years of slogging away up here. No, it's been fantastic. Thanks very much, Niue Island.
A crowdsourced funding appeal has also started to raise funds to underwrite the creation of a global bee sanctuary in Niue. Discussions are ongoing, and government has yet to comment on what implications this may have on the island's bee population. On Friday last week, there was a gathering at the Kalaone Sea Track to mark the launching of a canoe building project that started last year. Master canoe builder Tamawhai Fuhi has been working closely with youth involved in the project to mentor them and hold practical sessions on the art of waka making. The aim of the project was to complete 10 canoes to mark the 40th anniversary of Niue's Constitution celebrations. One canoe was gifted to the government at the National Show Day last year in recognition of funds received to assist with the project. There appears to be a growing interest from young people keen on making canoes. However, there is a lack of adult guidance and resources. As the president of the local Niue Waka Association, Tamawhai has spent years as an advocate for the revival of the art of canoe making, imparting knowledge with young people and sharing the value of the waka not only as a vessel, but as a means of gaining sustenance from the sea. The success of this project, he says, has been a joint effort where youth and their parents get to learn. And as a mentor, Tamawhai says he is thankful to all those who have been part of this collective learning opportunity. Niue's Rally of the Rock bicycle race is increasing in notoriety with more than 10 overseas competitors and an increase in local interest to compete in this year's event. The 5-stage cycling race through 40 kilometers of back roads and tracks proved challenging. The initial race started in Mutalo. However, due to some signage being removed at some of the first stages, organizers consulted with competitors and it was decided that the time would be counted from stage 3. Niue Tourism Manager Vanessa Marsh says that despite the slight confusion, the feedback has been quite positive, with overseas riders highlighting the importance of local participation in these types of events. Some of these riders have returned continuously and are happy to engage with the locals. Tourism did a fair bit of promotional work to get more students involved in the events, and there have also been prizes that were sponsored specifically to draw more local interest. According to organisers, some overseas competitors have indicated they're looking to bring 2 bigger groups for future events. The race ended at Oneiki, and the event has become a permanent fixture on the tourism calendar, with the next race, Ride the Rock, a 60-kilometre challenge scheduled for early tomorrow morning. Queen's birthday break was time for people to relax and enjoy a public holiday, but for the community of Mutalo, it was time to take to the sea and participate in the annual Marine Day held yesterday. The community activity has been running for more than 10 years now and is an open event for those who enjoy fishing to test out their skills. Eager fisher folk woke up at the crack of dawn to head down to the reef to start fishing, while the women had prepared food and drinks to sell to visitors and friends who turned up on the day. The village pastor, Reverend Nukunuka Tawevihi, opened the day with a prayer, followed by a few speeches from one of the elders, who was a master fisherman, Yuhepe Tongakilo, and village council president Frank Sioniholo. This year there were not that many people out on the water, with a cancellation of the canoes and boats category. Conditions were reasonably calm for those out on the reef, who took up the challenge with the most fish caught by Tongafu Ioane. Second placing went to Buenita Fitu and third Lilivika Liumahetau. The village council said that the program for the day ran smoothly as there was plenty of food, but it is expected that next year's Marine Day will have a lot more people. That concludes our news bulletin for this evening. Do join us again for our next news bulletin on Thursday.